camera's not like this, and we're not vertical, and we're not selling shoes, and we're not selling shoes, and they're probably like, what the heck? Who are these people?
No tagged products. That wasn't our fault.
Yes.
We could not move past that screen.
They wanted us to sell shoes last time. I'm sorry for y'all.
We're still learning how to YouTube, okay,
Okay.
people. We'll be successful on here someday, but we're just barely getting there.
All
So,
right.
Hello. Happy Friday. Happy no drama.
Very happy Friday. No
the
drama.
Friday
even
before
though it was
Friday
close.
the 13th. It was close.
It was close, but we
Yeah.
had to. What did I learn this week?
Meditation. Breathing.
It actually worked.
Yeah, it does. It does. But like the problem is when you're all tense and in the moment, it's really hard to quiet the mind. I don't know. But anyway.
All right.
So today, you guys, we are going to be doing some ASC L1 questions. We've got the ASC L1 book over there with Shop Mom, and yeah, we're just gonna go through the questions with you guys. We don't know which ones Shop Mom are. Is
Yeah,
gonna
she has the
choose for
book
day,
so that we don't pre-read them and guess. If you know them from the last time, we like to do the AC stuff because it's fun and actually y'all interact and really
we
really good. Lawnmower's here, Felicia's here, and
Yes.
we don't pre-read them, so we don't always get them right. I know I don't always get them right, and that's fun. That's not. I learned something just like everybody else.
Oh, definitely.
So.
We're always improving.
Yes.
So before we hop into the questions, we'll wait for a few more people to get into the room. Let's just talk about some test-taking tech. No! Well, we can cheers and set the chicken timer.
Yes.
I don't know what I'm doing with
Oh,
my
yeah.
Let's set the chicken timer. I'm
We
sorry.
okay, there we go.
I don't know
All right.
if Terry's coming, so I just went ahead and.
No, Terry.
Yeah.
Terry is otherwise occupied this evening.
All right. Well, Terry's
Okay.
busy. That's fine. We got the chicken timer going.
Mm-hmm.
And so, rule of thumb. So for ASC questions, you're going to get mostly Tech A, Tech B questions, or multiple choice, or all or neither questions. Like the neither questions really get me, so we gotta make sure that we pay attention. Like the accept questions. But most of all, you're gonna see the Tech A, Tech B questions. I think they're the most common. They're pretty common on
Yes.
the L1 from what we've done so far
It'll
too.
be Tech A says this, Tech B says this, Tech C says both or neither.
Yeah,
So-
both or neither. So, like, general rule of thumb, when we're doing Tech A, Tech B questions, we want to make sure that we are not imagining both of them in the same room together talking to each other. They really aren't. They're two completely separate statements. One statement from Tech A has absolutely nothing to do with the statement from Tech B. They do not qualify each other. They do not set the stage for the other question. They don't give you more information about each other's questions. You've got to treat them as two completely separate statements. The next thing is multiple choice. If you don't guess at all, it's automatically wrong. So we always want to make sure that we at least give ourselves a better chance than than best out of 4.
Because if you don't answer at all, you most definitely got it wrong.
Exactly.
So you got one of 4 chance.
Right.
Yeah.
Right. And normally there's one that's a little bit of an outlier, and it's kind of easy to knock one of them out of there like right away. Normally, in general, if I don't know anything about the question, there's normally 2 that I can knock off. So I'm giving myself at least 50% at least chance. So that's what we're going to try to do today. As we move forward to these questions, we're going to see, like, is there one right off the bat, an answer that we can just say that is absolutely not it, like, for sure. And we're just going to do our best.
And when you go to take your test for the ones out there that are going to take ASC test, which I think you should, we talked about this before.
Oh, yeah.
Does it make the mechanic? No, it enhances the mechanic and it opens doors for you, and you actually can learn some. You need it. You really do, but it doesn't make you or break you. Sometimes a real good mechanic can pass the test.
Yeah.
So a couple of tips. It's timed. When you go in and you sit down, it's a timed test. So if you spend too much time worrying about a specific question, it's going to eat you up alive, because then you're going to start getting further and further away from where you were. You may have been real close to getting it, and then you overthought it. So skip it, move on. When you get to the end of the test, then you have some more time. Go back to the ones that. So you
You can flag them. You can flag them, so you're not just like, oh, I've got to remember it was like question 33 I've got to go back to. Nah, in the software, you just hit a little button, and then you can see all of them, like, all the way down the left-hand side of the screen, and you can see your flags. You can jump back to the questions really, really quickly. So I'll run through the questions and just knock off all the ones that are easy. If I can get them in like 10 seconds or less, like I'll just move on. I'll go through the entire thing many, many, many times and just never allow myself to get hung up thinking too hard. I always do the hardest questions last.
Yes, keep your pace. Keep your pace.
Yep.
One question isn't gonna. You're not gonna fail the test. But if you sit on there too long, you may have missed questions that you know the answers to, but you never even read them because you were stuck on that one question. The next tip would be buying the study guides. Actually, do help.
Yes.
Because you already have the essence of how they're gonna ask the question. The question in the test will never be identical to the study guide, but it's so close. As soon as you read it, especially if you read the study guide, as soon as you read it, you'll be like, oh, you'll know already what the answer they're going to, but it'll be phrased a little bit different. So the study guide actually does get you in the right frame of mind of how they're asking the questions and what are they looking for an answer. So
And speaking of the study guide, so for like all of the ASCs that I passed, A1 through A8, I used the green book, the Delmar study guide. I loaned that out to a friend. So right now I've got this one, and this is the Motor Age Training. This is like the other major brand that you're going to see out there. This is my first time using this particular book, but that's it. That's the one we're studying from today. I'm still sort of learning this, so I'm not yet sure if I recommend it. I definitely recommend the Delmar studying book, the big, thick book that's got all of it.
It is worth the investment to get the study guide.
And
Just like I said, it gets you going to how they're going to ask these questions.
Yep.
Once you get that, it won't be so odd for you when you read the question. Especially a lot of mechanics and techs aren't necessarily the best. They don't take the test as best, they're not the best guys to take tests.
Right.
You might be awesome at what you do, but taking a test is...
I get test anxiety.
Yes.
So to give you an idea of what this book looks like it goes through, so every single ASC test has categories and then further broken down into the specifics of the category. So I've started reading this one, and you can see I've done a bunch of highlighting in it, but it basically goes through all the things that you need to learn. Here's information about a Hall effect sensor. And then in the back of this book is where we have the actual test questions, which Shop Mom will be reading from today.
Okay. Without further ado,
Yeah.
I'm going to have a little drink here. But drink water, we stay hydrated. This is Texas. It gets quite hot. Anyway, we got some new people and a lot of originals, a lot of OGs. So.
All right. Well, let's.
All right.
I'm ready for some questions.
See you, Ed.
All righty.
And we're going to get to the questions. I just want you to know that Lawnmower wants to know why AARP keeps sending him letters with final notice on the envelope. But that's an old people joke.
Oh.
Yeah. I hate when that happens.
Noted.
Okay.
Welcome to the old man's club. Okay.
There you go. Hi, Wade.
Alrighty.
Wade
So,
here. Right.
Okay. We are starting with the EFE heater stays energized all the time on an engine with TBI. Which of the following symptoms would not be associated with this condition?
Okay, wait. Take just a pause with that question.
We already lost.
So we've got two acronyms in that question, and one of the things from my study book that I would do is I would go through and I would have a highlighter, multiple highlighters, and I would highlight based upon different things. And one of the things that I was highlighting for was words that were difficult or acronyms. And then I made my own dictionary for myself out of the words that I needed to learn and acronyms. And that is something. That was the entire question. That was the whole question. We don't get to know what EFE stands for. We heard TBI.
And a lot of us know what TBI is, some may not, but EFE.
I would say throttle body.
Throttle body is yes, TBI, throttle body injection. But
EFE, I'm not sure I know.
EF was, electronic fuel injection, but EFE, I don't know. So I'd be guessing.
Heater.
So what is
EFE heater? Yeah, can you read the question one more time, Shop Mom?
The EFE heater stays energized all the time on an engine with TBI. Which of the following symptoms would not be associated with this condition?
All right.
We don't even know what an EFE is.
I'm sorry.
I'm sorry. Go ahead. Go ahead.
We don't know what EFE is.
Okay. I will look that up for us.
Okay.
A, poor cold drivability. B, spark knock. C, lack of power. D, excessive NOx emissions.
Okay. So now Shop Mom is gonna look up what EFE is. So we're gonna get a little bit of help here. But even if we did not know what it was, let's see if we can just
Eliminate the ones that wouldn't have anything to do with anything.
absolutely,
Kind of, essentially.
absolutely.
Like,
So an EFE heater,
mhm.
it's energized all of the time. Can we hear the answers one more time, Shop Mom?
The answers are A, poor cold drivability.
Poor cold drivability.
B, spark knock.
Spark knock.
C, lack of power. D, excessive NOx emissions.
And it's which of those would be a byproduct or would not be?
The EFE heater stays energized all the time on an engine with TBI. Which of the following symptoms would not be associated with this condition?
Would not.
I would remove the spark knock, because what is.
Yeah,
Why would the engine knocking keep the EFI heater energized? Cold, if it was a cold conditions, it would keep it energized all the time, and it could be a cold start solenoid or a cold start sensor would keep it energized. So cold, and if it thinks it's cold, it would keep it energized. So I'm thinking, okay, but why would spark knock keep it energized?
So Ed's machine is correct. The EFE, or early fuel evaporator, or electronic fuel evaporator, is located between the throttle body of the carburetor and the intake manifold. This gasket contains a resistance grid that heats the air-fuel mixture.
Okay. Now, even without knowing that, we kind of guessed, or at least we were kind of able to figure out, what.
Yeah, I'm thinking engine knocking. How does that affect the keeping the heater energized?
Or how does the heater energized affect that? Because it's what would that? I'm thinking it would definitely affect NOx emissions.
It would affect emissions.
So I'm gonna knock that one off right away. And wait, someone.
And Too White and Nerdy says same thing. Early fuel evaporation. Okay, so we're learning something.
Awesome!
That's why it helps to read ahead of time.
What do you guys think? What do we have? Lon's guessing C.
Directs heat to the carburetor, intake manifold, or central fuel injection systems. It's a preheater.
It's a preheater, but it's staying energized. Is that not the question,
yeah,
right?
Yeah, it's staying energized. Can we get the question one more time, Shop Mom?
The EFE heater stays energized all the time on an engine with TBI. Which of the following symptoms would not be associated with this condition?
Okay. And the first one is a cold running issue.
Or cold drivability.
That would be associated.
That would be, yep. So we're eliminating that. Spark knock is a maybe, yep.
Lack of power or excessive NOx emissions.
Okay.
I don't know why lack of power would keep it energized as well.
No, it's a condition.
It's a condition?
Yeah, so it's a symptom of that condition. So which one of those is not which of those would not be a symptom of that condition? Is that what I'm getting?
Okay.
So we've got emissions would be, so that's not the answer, and then cold starting would probably be, so that's not the answer. So then we're left with spark knock, and we're left with poor drivability. If that heater's on all the time, it could superheat.
It could be. It would vaporize fuel a lot. It could be poor
vapor lock. So it could be.
It.
So spark knock is probably the best answer in this case. It'd probably be B. I don't know. What do you think,
okay, we have a C. We have a C and an A.
And we have an A.
But for the same person, for lawnmower. You got a C and A. So,
okay.
But you at least were ballsy enough to give us an answer.
Maybe spark knock. Maybe spark knock is the answer. All right, Chop Mom, we're committing.
If I was taking a test, I'd go to spark knock and move on.
But I would flag it.
I'm just going to tell you, lawnmower is correct.
Oh, but he guessed A and C.
Okay, well, when he guessed A, he was correct.
Okay.
And I'm going to go with the last one.
He heard it wrong.
Oh, okay.
Me too. I heard it wrong.
Yeah, we all heard it wrong.
Okay, so
all right, tell us how it is.
The correct answer is A. If the EFE heater remains on all the time, cold drivability will be normal. However, the air-fuel mixture will eventually become superheated. Under this condition, combustion chamber temperatures will increase significantly, resulting in spark knock and higher NOx emissions. A superheated mixture also reduces charge density and can therefore cause the engine to lack power. If the EFE grid remains on over an extended period of time, the grid can eventually melt. When this occurs, it creates a restriction in the induction system that will dramatically reduce engine performance. Because gasoline does not vaporize well at low temperatures, the air-fuel mixture must be rich when the engine is cold. A rich mixture makes enough fuel available so that even a partially burned charge will allow the engine to run. On port-injected engines, fuel vaporizes easily since it is delivered inside a low-pressure area above the intake valve. However, on throttle body injected engines, fuel is delivered outside the manifold. To improve fuel vaporization, some TBI engines are equipped with an electric heater between the throttle body and intake manifold. The heater is energized when the engine is cold so that the air-fuel mixture is preheated before entering the intake manifold. Once the engine reaches a predetermined temperature, the heater is turned off. At this point, the incoming fuel is vaporized through engine heat. With EFE, the ECM can be programmed with a leaner open-loop fuel curve. This reduces HC and CO emissions. EFE also improves cold drivability by providing better mixture distribution at low engine temperatures.
And I've only seen it.
I love the explanation in the book.
It went, yes, and I want, you know what, why. I'm going to make an excuse why I didn't know that one, but no, it's not. It's just an excuse. There's no excuse for not knowing that. But I think I've only seen two in my life. This is Texas.
I've never.
Cars in Texas don't have that. I think I've seen maybe one from a junkyard or somebody brought one in.
Oh,
I've seen it.
That makes sense.
I've seen it. I've seen it on diesels. Cummins has this heater up there with a little grid on that. I'm trying to think of, man, I haven't seen one for forever. A little 2-barrel Ford V6.
I've never seen one ever. But I don't think in my entire life. So
maybe I'm totally wrong and I'm working enough stuff, but that little grid underneath the throttle body, I think I've seen twice in my life. So anyway, but Lawnmower got it right, and that's okay.
Whoa! All right. Thanks, Shop Mom.
Any easy ones? And you got a different book?
This is L1. This is advanced.
But let me just take a minute to say hi to Brian. He's just popped in.
Hey, Brian.
Has to go. Hurton's here.
There's Lewis.
Hey,
there's Lewis. His flathead. That's Lewis's flathead.
Oh, nice.
And
you see my
our other European friend.
My burgundy hands, Lewis.
Oh, your engine is looking phenomenal. So yeah, it really, it looks great.
Okay.
All right, Shop Mom, hit us with number 2.
Okay. The composite vehicle fails a 2-speed idle test due to excessive carbon monoxide. When the PCV valve is removed from the valve cover, CO emissions drop below the maximum allowable limit. Technician A says this test proves the PCV system is working properly. Technician B says the engine may have one or more leaking injectors. Who is right? A, Technician A only. B, Technician B only. C, both A and B. D, neither A or B.
This advanced
wow,
ASC,
this is very advanced.
I only have my basic ASC, so I
don't have this one either. Okay, so this is really tricky. So once again, okay, we will be able to, with a Tech A Tech B question, if we can make a determination about just one of their statements, we can knock off 2.
Okay, I would think if the crankcase ventilation, if the PCV system is working properly, then when you pulled it off or on, shouldn't have really have affected the way it. But when you pulled it off, now all of a sudden it was better. When it was on, it had too much CO2, right? Gas.
Yeah, it was right. It was too high. Well, I was thinking maybe the engine just has too much flow by, and so when everything is connected properly, just because the engine is running poorly. That would still be showing that the PCV
that would make
system is
sense.
working.
Then it's picking up too much because
oil
because
and
it has too much blow by in the crankcase.
Because it doesn't say anything about the health of the engine in this question.
I'm waiting for lawnmower.
It doesn't say anything about the health of the engine in this question. So, and then the second, what did Tech B say?
Technician B says that the engine may have one or more leaking injectors. Who is right?
Ooh.
I'll repeat the whole question. The composite vehicle fails a two-speed idle test due to excessive carbon monoxide. When the PCV valve is removed from the valve cover, CO emissions drop below the maximum allowable limit. Technician A says this test proves the PCV system is working properly. Technician B says that the engine may have one or more leaking injectors. Who is right? Lawnmower says B.
Ooh. See,
It would be technician B only.
This is hard because here's the thing too: is if we're disconnecting the PCV hose, are we then introducing a massive air leak? So if we have a leaking injector, and then we introduce an air leak, maybe like the two are canceling each other out, and so that is why it's running okay.
I'm going to both A and B are correct.
That's what I'm leading with too.
Because
so you're
if
both going with C.
We are both going with C.
Both A and B are correct.
Both A and B are correct.
Okay. Anybody
I
else
made mine
besides
official.
Lawnmower want to hazard a guess?
Lawnmower went to B. I'm going to B. Can I change my?
I'm sorry, you've already locked in your answer.
Can I
And
call-
I think it's both, but like for way different reasons. But that's the thing. It's like so
Okay,
initially.
so we'll find out why you were correct with C. Both technicians are correct.
Yay! But see, you guys, okay, so that was my initial thing was I thought that technician A was correct. So I knew that I was going to cancel out neither and cancel out B only. So just by taking a stance on like one of the technicians' questions or their statements, I was able to at least knock down the answers to 50-50. Oh gosh, what are you doing?
I'm just answering Hurton. I don't have to answer it. He just says, I don't know anything about engines. Why am I here? Because we're all inclusive and you don't have to know anything. We're just having a good time.
We're just having a good time.
Whiskey and a cigar. Why wouldn't he be?
Your life sounds
Whiskey and a
amazing.
cigar, just like my brother-in-law. That's what. Okay.
So the correct answer is C. Both technicians are right. High carbon monoxide emissions are always a result of a rich mixture. This is because the rich mixture lacks the oxygen necessary to promote good combustion. As a result, the carbon in the fuel is converted to carbon monoxide rather than carbon dioxide. The fact that CO dropped when the PCV valve was removed indicates two things. First, the PCV system is working properly since it allowed enough air to be drawn into the engine to lean out the mixture and reduce the CO reading. Second, the crankcase is contaminated with fuel. With the PCV valve installed, the fuel-laden crankcase vapors are being drawn into the engine, causing the mixture to become too rich. These facts fully support Technician A's statement. Technician B's statement is equally correct since leaking injectors would be the most obvious cause for crankcase contamination of the composite vehicle.
And that's a lot of fuel if it actually changes the carbon monoxide in the crankcase. You got fuel wash, so besides that, you wash your rings and your motor's gone.
Yeah,
but that's a lot of fuel.
I've never seen that before. Where like, yeah, you don't have a ton of other issues, and you're just like, oh, I don't pass emissions.
Yes.
Bummer. Like that would be like a last case.
We used to put extenders on the O2 sensor.
We still used to do that.
Yeah, this is Texas after all. Okay, all right. Who's next? What's next?
Okay.
All right, question 3.
All right. Two technicians are discussing emissions controls and related failure symptoms. Technician A says that if the hot air hose is missing on an engine with a thermostatic air cleaner, NOx emissions will be higher than normal. Technician B says that a faulty secondary air system can cause backfiring. Who is right? A, Technician A only. B, Technician B only. C, both A and B. D, neither A nor B.
I believe they're talking about the hose that goes from and this would be on an earlier older car.
Car.
Yeah, I'm sure maybe late model cars have it as well, but old cars, the air cleaner had a hose that went over to the exhaust manifold. It didn't go to the exhaust pipe. there was a shield on the exhaust manifold.
Yes.
Just a shield, heat shield.
Yes.
And the tube was there. Right underneath the air cleaner, there's a valve, a flapper valve opens. When it's cold, it's open and it sucks heat from the exhaust pipe. Not exhaust gases, just heat.
I think my
And-
Suzuki Samurai had that.
Yeah,
from
it's
the
old
80s.
school. I don't know if, because now with fuel injection and stuff, they don't need this anymore. Well, they have that electric heater underneath if you're up north. But that's kind of what I'm thinking. That's what they're talking about.
Yes, that's what I was picturing too. I was picturing like that weird
The
little
hose
pipe
that-
thing
that goes through the
that
manifold.
disintegrates. Yeah, that was on my Suzuki Samurai. I think Volkswagens had it too, like older. So okay, and then secondary air injection causing backfiring if it's malfunctioning. So it could just be like pumping air at any point.
If it's hung open, it'd be lean, and in a lean condition would cause backfiring. Right,
So,
the secondary.
Yeah.
If the secondary air,
they're
which,
just preheating the cats.
anybody, where's
Okay, so I think-
what's lawnmower saying? Come on, lawnmower.
Hurton has a book club suggestion.
Okay,
Zen and the Art of Motorcycle Maintenance.
I was never able to get into that book. I've tried reading it like 3 times, and maybe I'm too impatient. I got bored of it too quickly. I did. I'm sorry.
No Zen there for you, huh?
No.
It was not. No, maybe it was too Zen.
Two Zen.
I've had the book for like at least 20 years. I don't know. I've had it since my first road trip, and I tried reading it.
So Lawnmower says he needs to hear the question again because Cesar and David Silva are both saying D.
Oh,
Okay.
that's
One
okay.
more time with the question and then lock in your answers, people.
okay.
Yeah, one more time and then lock in.
2 technicians are discussing emissions controls and related failure systems. Technician A says that if the hot air hose is missing on an engine with a thermostatic air cleaner, NOx emissions will be higher than normal. Technician B says that a faulty secondary air system can cause backfiring. Who is right? A, Technician A only. B, Technician B only. C, both A and B. D, neither A nor B.
I'm gonna say C.
Okay, Faye's locked in C.
I'm locked in.
I locked in C2. So
Oh, you
now,
did?
Well, now like I said, you read it again, and I got a little more insight. So the hose is missing.
Missing.
So that means that
It's not
that,
getting any heat
yes,
at all.
when it started, it's
So
not
the-
getting any heat.
so the
and I'm
NOx
going
is
back to
gonna
the
be
other
higher.
question with it not working, with the heater not working. So I kind of going, okay, it's kind of like the same kind of question on an earlier model car.
So we've got C's, we've got D's, we've got an A. And the correct answer is B.
Oh!
A thermostatic air cleaner is used to improve fuel vaporization on throttle body injected engines. When the engine is cold, the damper valve opens the inlet air at the base of the air cleaner while simultaneously blocking the opening at the snorkel. This allows hot air from the exhaust manifold heat stove to be drawn into the engine. The hot air flows through a heat-resistant hose. As the fuel comes in contact with the hot air, it vaporizes instantly. Without the tack system, incoming fuel would condense on the cold throttle plate and puddle inside the intake manifold. If the
Oh.
hot air hose is missing, cold engine performance will be adversely affected, but only when the outside temperature is low. During warm weather, ambient heat provides sufficient fuel vaporization. In order for the tax system to raise NOx emissions, the hot air hose would need to be in place and the damper stuck in the closed hot air position. Consequently, Technician A's statement is false. The secondary air system reduces HC and CO emissions by injecting oxygen into the exhaust manifold when the engine is cold. Once the engine reaches a predetermined temperature, pump air is diverted to the converter or atmosphere depending on the system. On vehicles with electric pumps, the ECM simply disables the pump after a certain amount of time has elapsed. If pump air is continuously injected into the exhaust manifold, it can cause a backfire under certain conditions. For example, during heavy acceleration, the ECM pulses the injector longer to provide a richer mixture. If oxygen is pumped into the manifold during this time, a backfire will result as the excess hydrocarbons are oxidized. As you can see, Technician's B statement is correct. In some cases, a backfire can occur if pump air is not diverted from the manifold on deceleration. However, this condition is more common on carbureted vehicles since fuel injection systems typically cut injector pulses during deceleration or reduce HC emission and improve fuel economy. So,
well, we're all learning something here. Maybe
we've all learned something.
I think we need to go back to the basic class.
I know, yeah, what are we doing with L1?
But that's interesting too because we're going back to carburation.
Yeah.
That's
Fuel
weird.
injection most cars are fuel injected now. So
Yeah.
this would be something an old school mechanic should know. Looking at you, Danny.
I hadn't. Well, no, I knew where the hose was for, but I never knew that hose on a fuel injected car. I don't work on everything in the world. I knew that hose was for carbureted cars. I mean, I knew how the system worked. I didn't understand.
Well, I still don't understand how it doesn't affect the emissions for it to not be if it's gone completely.
If it's gone, you would think that instead of getting hot, it would be getting cold. Air is not vaporizing the fuel. It would, but
oh well, that one messed me up, Shop Mom.
yeah,
I learned some and I got a little more confused.
Well, the confusion abounds.
Yeah. Okay.
Confusion abounds.
We'll have to go back to basics for our next one. These are hard.
Yeah. These are very intense.
Yeah.
Very intense. But then so is the comment that Hurton just made, which I want to read for the group because a lot of you guys in here are OGs. Hurton says, "You guys were a relief during COVID. I needed some kind people and something to do with my atrophied brain. Just want you to know I appreciate you all." And that's how we feel about you guys.
yeah. Thank you, Hurton. That's why we did. That's what we remember. That's what started it all. We just all needed just an outlet and just some sanity. And
we're still looking for the sanity.
Yeah,
but we have an outlet now.
Yeah.
so we're still holding hope for the sanity.
Yeah,
part.
we've solved one of those problems at
It's never
least.
too late. We can hold on.
Well, if you have maybe a question that's easier over there, Shop Mom.
You know, we picked these. We're sticking with these.
Alrighty.
All right.
We're going to question number 4.
Okay, question number 4.
The composite vehicle fails at IM 240. I'm sorry. Let me start again. The composite vehicle fails NIM 240 test due to high carbon monoxide emissions. HC is barely within limits, while NOx is well below the maximum output. Once the cause of the high CO has been corrected, the vehicle is retested and fails again, only this time for excessive NOx. What is the most likely reason for the subsequent failure? A, the converter was damaged as a result of the CO failure. B, the technician damaged the EGR vacuum line while making the initial repair. C, the CO failure masked the NOx problem. D, the failed retest was coincidental.
A.
C.
Lock in your answers, people.
Lock in our answers. I'm gonna wait till I see some other ones. Come on, Hurton. Well, I don't know much. As Tom,
Lawnmower says E, demonic possession.
If the NOx numbers are high, that's because the exhaust temperature is extremely high.
Overheated, yeah.
Okay, so I'm trying to let that be. That's the only clue that I have in my brain.
Right, and hydrocarbons is like if it's running rich.
Yes.
So, yeah.
And running rich would normally lower exhaust temperature. In fact, that's how you cool off sometimes the exhaust by increasing
more fuel
to
I really
Band-Aid.
like Lawnmower's answer. I mean, that's just...
Demonic possession.
Yes.
Now, the cat, wasn't there a clue? Was damaged from the first wrong thing. If the cat is clogged...
From running too rich, yeah, I've seen that.
Yeah, because it has to burn the fuel. That's what the cat is, like an afterburner. So
right, and then they work most efficiently when they're hot.
Yes, they want to be at 1900 degrees or something, 1700 degrees. It's a high number. And they want to get there quick. But dumping too much fuel in them, they don't work efficiently.
Yes.
And could clog a cat.
So okay, so could it have just been like running way too rich initially, and then after they fixed that issue, then by like tuning down the fuel, then it's running too hot. So we're getting
because it wasn't running hot at first.
It was not running hot at first.
That's what it is. Dang it.
So.
Right? I mean, are we just trying to just...
So you're locking it. What answer are you locking in?
What's our answers again? A?
The converter was damaged as a result of the CO failure. B, the technician damaged the EGR vacuum line while making the initial repair. C, the CO failure masked the NOx problem. D, the failed retest was coincidental.
Oh, the NOx problem. That's why we still have it. But the CO2 masked
the problem. But it did say the first time that, like, they didn't mention that the NOx was low in the first test. So I'm gonna rule out that the retest was coincidental.
Okay, we're ruling that one out. I'm thinking, and maybe that's totally wrong, and maybe here's the key. But the way that an EGR valve works, is this under a load test or just idling test?
It was a two.
It's an IM240 test.
An emissions.
I don't know what an IM240 test is.
It's an emissions test.
It's an emissions test?
But I don't know what kind. I don't know if it's done on a dyno. I don't know.
Well, the way they used to do them is they strap them onto a chassis dyno,
Yes.
and it was at a certain RPM.
Yeah.
That's how Volkswagen finagled that one.
Yeah. Brilliant.
Well, the EGR valve is a port connected to the exhaust internally. It's actually an exhaust port, and what it does is not at idle, but once you're driving along the highway and you're running an engine at a certain RPM, certain vacuum, they have an electronic solenoid. The computer turns on, opens the exhaust valve, and starts putting exhaust gases back into the intake manifold.
Yeah.
That extra heat going back into the intake manifold helps emissions, helps reburn fuel, blah blah blah, all that stuff. When you start to slow down, that exhaust port EGR valve closes. If not, when you get to an idle, the engine's going to die because you can't run exhaust gases into your intake manifold at low RPM.
Yeah.
When you're moving along, the engine doesn't even know any different. So when he said the technician messed up the vacuum hose going to the EGR valve, that just means that you can mess up the EGR valve. It's just never going to open.
Right.
It's just never going to open. So I don't know how
I don't know if it even opens like during that test. Like I'm not even sure what they're.
If it's a 2,000 RPMs on a chassis, maybe it is open, and that's why it's that helping you pass emissions.
But then still, like
I don't know.
Yeah, well, but yeah, still, like even if he destroyed that vacuum line, well, it's still running hot. It's still got the NOx.
Yeah.
And the second test. So that's what I'm thinking. Like either, like the repair caused the damage. Or like, but it was masked. I feel like both of them are similar answers, or not the repair caused the damage, but repairing one of the items.
And then by knocking off that hose, and thanks Felicia, you're not tier 1 in our she did a look
she
at this.
became a member.
She became a member.
Oh,
a tier 1 member. Well, thank you.
Okay, are y'all? Has everybody locked in an answer?
Thanks.
Yes, has everybody locked in an answer? Because we have no clue. Let's see what could be a NOx sensor.
He's answering a question that Eric had about his car.
Oh, okay.
So that's not about these questions.
Maybe we should answer just people's questions on their cars.
Might be easier.
No, I'm gonna stick with C.
Okay. Danny, how about you?
And C was the technician.
I don't even
remember. No,
Well,
the CO failure masked the NOx problem.
Oh. Dang. I'm gonna.
And what was A again?
Oh my goodness, people. The converter was damaged as a result of the CO failure.
I'm sticking with C.
C is correct.
C is correct. I'm going with C. I didn't have a clue.
To the party there,
Well, thank you. You got it. Yes. Anybody else get C?
Described in the question is not unusual. High CO emissions are always the result of a rich mixture, which is the reason for the composite vehicle's initial failure. However, because a rich mixture lowers combustion temperatures, a CO failure can mask an underlying NOx problem. This is why the NOx problem became apparent only after the CO failure was corrected. Although the other responses are all reasonable possibilities, response C has the highest degree of probability and is therefore the most likely choice. And that, in a nutshell, is why you have to be careful when taking these tests. Because in that answer, they just told you any one of them was a reasonable possibility. So you could go with a reasonable possibility on an ASE test and still be wrong.
And that is a really, really good point, because that's the thing too. It's like I knew just because of the nature of the question that I wanted to rule out that last one, that it was coincidental. I'm like, that's not an ASE answer.
Right.
However, we can't deny that that's possible.
And it's a reasonable possibility.
It is.
That's to me, that's the key phrase. All of them are reasonable possibilities. Well, what the hell? You're trying to screw people up? Yes.
Yes, that's a good point, Shop Mom. They are getting much trickier as we go
This advanced
into L1.
course, yeah, this isn't, like I said, I took all my initial AC ones. I just went and sat down and I took them back to back like three.
Oh, you just knocked him out.
But this was just back in the day when there was carburetors and common sense was common sense.
I walked in there to take my first ASE. It was brakes is the one that I chose. I'm like, I do brakes all day long. I was a new technician at the time, so I really did do brakes all the time. And I failed it by like a ton of questions. I wasn't even close. And that's when I realized, all right, it's not necessarily about like practicality, like what would I do in the field. It's like sometimes it's really like by the book stuff that doesn't really make sense anymore. And now it's like this sort of a reminder that we've got to know everything.
Yes,
like,
I most definitely
board.
wouldn't even go in without getting the study guide, because once you do these study guides and you read these questions and the way they're written, or the way you take them, when you go take the test, I will say this: it's not exactly by the study guide, but you can tell. They're real close. They're real similar.
And it tells you what things you should study. Like
you would know what an EFEI is. You would know what all these things are already. If nothing else, then you just read the study guide. You would know. So it does prime you to.
It's really good for those that are stuck to one manufacturer as well. There's like on the transmissions one, there's a bunch of questions about like CVT transmissions, and there's pictures of like internal CVT transmission components that I've never seen before in my life, because I've never worked on a Nissan CVT transmission, which are very different from the Toyota CVT transmission. And then you'll have questions about like the DOD, or the cylinder deactivation, which isn't really something, it's a common problem on some other manufacturers, not something we have like a ton in Toyota. And then there was just like the secondary air injection. I know that's a Toyota thing. I don't know if other manufacturers have secondary air injection in the same way. I don't know. So
the only time I've ever seen a composite car was at SEMA. It was 3D printed.
Oh.
All the cars I've ever seen, they're metal. I mean,
no, I think
so. I didn't understand what a composite car was.
Engine is. I don't know.
Yeah, like I said, I'm thinking composite is plastic.
What is the definition of a composite engine?
I mean,
I will look that up. But meanwhile, let's ask the next question.
Okay.
Yes, we shall.
What is the most effective way to test the PCV system?
oh, I got this one.
A, shake the valve to see if it rattles. B, perform a vacuum draw test. C, perform an RPM drop test. D, measure the vacuum signal at the valve.
Could it be B, C, and D? It's not A. What I could.
I know it's not going to be A, but every time I pull one of those off, the first thing I do is shake it, and then I suck on it. Like, you're not, but see, that's not an ASC. Oh, we got it.
Oh, it's burrito time and tequila time for.
Thank you.
That's hurting.
Oh my gosh.
I'm not hurting so bad now.
That's
Bad joke. Okay, bad joke.
I forgot about live streaming and all this fun stuff. Oh, and Felicia has a little star next to her name now. Oh, it's Sarah.
If y'all want little stars next to your name, just kidding. Okay, on a PCV valve, it's a positive
I'm gonna
crankcase
rule out
ventilation.
A. It's not actually gonna be A, because hearing the little rattle inside of the PCV valve doesn't actually mean the system is working. I heard the key word there, system, and shaking the valve and hearing the ball is only gonna let us know that
it's
the
not
ball
clogged
is
or-
there.
What
in one element
what it
of the
does, it
system.
pulls vacuum off the valve cover to remove all the crankcase ventilation gases that go past the rings. So every engine, no matter how brand new, how badass it is, it doesn't make any difference. Every single engine in a combustion process, there's going to be some gases that go past the rings.
Especially
you
on
have a
these low
crankcase
tension
ventilation
rings
system.
that-
On one valve cover, you normally have a PCV valve. On the other valve cover, you have an orifice, a tube that goes to the air cleaner. It could be a breather on a race car or whatever, but air is circulating through the engine. If the PCV valve is not the correct one for the car or bad, there's a spring in it. Okay, let's just say your engine has 20 inches of vacuum. The spring in the PCV valve is 19 inches of spring pressure. So when your engine is running, it pulls the check valve up on the PCV valve. That moment that it lifts up on there, it sucks out of the crankcase. But now you lost vacuum.
Pressure, yeah.
You lost vacuum,
Vacuum.
because the orifice was open. You lost vacuum. The check valve closes.
Drops back down.
As soon as it closes, the vacuum
vacuum
opens it up
again.
again. As soon as it opens, it loses pressure. It closes. So the way you check a PCV valve, besides getting a vacuum gauge and checking it, old school way, we would put our finger on it, and it should be going tick, click, 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 click.
Yeah.
That means it's proper. That's how a proper one is working. Now, that's all I know. Now, let's use that to try to figure out this answer.
But yes, so back to why I don't think that it's like the shaking, because that's only testing one element in the entire.
Yeah, it doesn't have
system.
vacuum. That's just, you're just checking the spring. But the spring could be weak.
So I'm gonna rule
The
that
engine-
one out.
Yes, if the engine has low vacuum because it's older, it's not gonna. The PCV valve is not gonna act the way it should be acting. But that's because of low vacuum. So that's why putting a vacuum gauge isn't one of those questions that.
Yeah, one's a vacuum gauge and then one. Yeah. What are the four?
Our choices
Yes.
are A, shake the valve to see if it rattles. B, perform a vacuum draw test. C, perform an RPM drop test. D, measure the vacuum signal at the valve.
There's not a all or.
Okay. Vacuum draw test, RPM draw test.
I know when you unhook a PCV valve, the RPM is going to change.
Yes.
Because you just got a open port to vacuum.
So I feel like those are names for very specific tests, and I'm not sure exactly what specific test they're referring to. I don't think that we're going to test for vacuum just at the valve, because once again, that's not the entire system. I'm going to guess a vacuum draw test rather than the RPM draw test. But I have a feeling that these are going to have specific definitions.
And thank you, Wayne's World.
Thank you, Wayne's World.
You got another little
So I'm
star.
going to go with B,
Well, Wayne's World
vacuum draw.
is now a member.
Yes, and a level 1 mode.
Yeah, and
I'll drink to that.
I just want to tell you that 500K Chevrolet says, LOL, shake it, and then suck it. No comment. And
Enough said.
As Danny says, stop it, people.
Stop it, people. That's one of my lines, and I actually one
stop
of
it,
yours says
people.
that's their favorite line now. If you watch my videos, you'll know where that comes from. But
Okay,
basically,
guys.
stop it, people.
Let's lock in an answer.
Okay, the last time, read all 4 again.
Shake the valve to see if it rattles. Perform a vacuum draw test. Perform an RPM drop test. Measure the vacuum signal at the valve.
B. I'm going with B.
B.
The correct
D.
answer. Okay, David Silva also says B. So
Oh, okay.
we have reached a consensus.
I'm gonna lock ours in.
Lock it in.
Okay, hold on.
There you go.
Hold on.
Lock in your answers. The correct answer is B.
Okay. I was gonna, I'm gonna finish with mine.
Response C, RPM drop test. Each of the methods listed can be used for testing the PCB system, in whole or in part, on a computer-controlled engine. The RPM drop test is only effective for testing the PCB system on older engines without feedback control. Although
One thing I know.
shaking the PCB valve can help uncover a clogged valve, It provides no evidence that the entire system is working properly. Checking the vacuum signal to the PCV valve is another legitimate test. However, it too does not verify the integrity of the entire system. Only a vacuum draw test can determine how well the PCV system is working and is therefore the most effective method. The draw tester is placed over the oil fill hole, oil fill cap removed. Inside the tester is a ball that responds to the level of crankcase vacuum present. If the PCV system is working properly, it will draw a slight vacuum on the crankcase that pulls the ball into the safe zone. If a draw tester is not available, the same test can be performed using an index card placed over the oil fill hole. If the PCV system is functioning normally, the card should stay in place with the engine idling.
Oh, so on the other side, the hose that goes to the air cleaner or the air box, leaving the PCV valve in the valve cover on this side, a card on the other side should get stuck to that valve cover.
I mean, yeah, it makes sense.
Yeah, that's pretty weird.
Wow.
We are, and I'm actually kind of cool because I'm not kind of cool. I mean, B, me. I said B and maybe C, but you know, a lot of our viewers actually are pretty smart.
I like the username indirect connection.
Yes, and hello, indirect connection.
So you don't drive a Chrysler?
Yeah.
You used to drive a Chrysler? It's a Mitsubishi. Oh, I got you. It's a Mitsubishi person.
Or is
Tell me if
using
I'm
all
right.
aftermarket parts.
Yeah. Well, Direct Connection was. I grew up. I was a Direct Connection kid. So.
Oh, yeah?
It's a Chrysler thing.
Yeah, I thought it was like, yeah, where you can like get the factory parts for like aftermarket.
Yeah,
and
high
then,
performance.
Yeah, high performance
Yeah,
parts, but and then you still keep your warranty because it's all.
Yes, you buy it for. Yes, it's like the Chevy
So
bow tie guys. It's a.
Okay, I think we have time for one
more. Okay,
question.
one more. We're ready.
And before we go to the next question,
Yes, 6
just
more
want to let
parts.
you guys know that we are planning another live stream for October 4th. We're going to try to do every
First
first
Fridays.
Friday. And maybe as, as things settle down, we'll get in a more regular rhythm. But we've missed you guys, and we're glad you're all here.
And we have October 4th.
October 4th.
Yeah.
Yes, I will remind you, Danny.
We're not doing next Friday because it's Friday the 13th, and that's a bad omen. And then the following 2 Fridays, I'll be at Supras in Vegas.
So if you're in the Vegas area, and you want to see some badass Supras,
Just go down to the strip. They're gonna be like.
It's everything. It's
crazy.
a whole. How long? How many days is it?
Well, it's technically only 3 days, but people show up early and they leave late.
But it's everything Toyota Supras. The whole Vegas embraces it. Everybody goes. Toyota's there. Everybody's there.
Yeah.
You're there.
This year's
this is the
September
official
20th, 21st, 22nd. What's that?
This is the official first showing of your car to the world.
It is my first official. Well, I did go to like Austin Cars and Coffee and like some other stuff
this
like that.
Is
Like
Texas. We got right here, but
Yeah.
but officially official.
Yeah, definitely.
This is
And
your first.
Yeah, so hopefully I fix it in time.
It will.
Yeah, I'm gonna spend all weekend on the damn car. But the cool thing about this year is it is my 10-year anniversary of attending Supras in Vegas. This will be my the first time I ever went was in 2014. So 2024 is my 10-year Supras in Vegas anniversary, and
so
yeah,
it's exciting.
It's
and
going
the car's
full circle.
done. It's still a little bit of little detail. She's a perfectionist, but it's the paint. If you go to her channel and you see the whole build, and I mean this has been going on. It's not just a weekend project. It's her life. I mean, so okay.
Yeah. Supras are life for sure.
Before I read the next question, just want to acknowledge that Brian says Friday the 13th isn't bad. He was born on Friday the 13th.
Well, happy birthday, Brian.
Definitely not bad. No, I mean, well, we don't think it's a bad omen.
Yeah,
actually,
That's
we love some Friday the 13th.
That's right.
It's all about what you make it.
And Smokey loved 13.
That's
He put
right.
he put it on his cars.
That's
Yes,
right.
embrace it.
We do embrace it. I agree with Brian.
One more question.
Okay, here we go.
2 technicians are discussing the effect air injection has on the carbon dioxide and oxygen readings from a properly functioning vehicle. Technician A says that CO2 reaches its highest point with the air injection system enabled. Technician B says that disabling the air injection system will cause an increase in the O2 reading. Who is right?
Neither.
A, Technician A only. B, Technician B only. C, both A and B. D, neither A nor B.
Yeah, I'm gonna go with neither.
Lock in your answers.
What's hard to say, and it does make it right because the other ones don't. That's one of those that they kind of don't make any sense. Or how is that?
Well,
The very first part of the question was the first part.
The very first part of the question. Two technicians are discussing the effect air injection has on the carbon dioxide and oxygen readings from a properly functioning vehicle. Technician A says that CO2 reaches its highest point with the air injection system enabled. Technician B says that disabling the air injection system will cause an increase in the O2 reading. Who is right?
yeah,
Well-
disabling is not going to cause an increase because secondary air injection literally pumps air
Into the system.
into the system to help increase the temperature of the catalytic converter so it burns more efficiently. I don't see why hydrocarbons would be the highest when it's enabled.
Because
Maybe it's
enable means
because
it's working. Disabled, it'd be higher because you're cutting the air off. Enabled means that you're pumping air in it.
Well, I'm guessing that maybe what the question means is that it's turned on because the hydrocarbons are the highest. But well, that would make sense because the hydrocarbons are the highest when the vehicle's running rich, and when the vehicle's running rich, it's in startup mode. You just start it up, it's running rich to get up to operating temperature, and the air injection's going crazy trying to heat up the cats. So maybe Tech A could be correct, actually, is that the hydrocarbons are the highest when the air injection is enabled. Okay, fine, A only. I'm switching my answer to A only.
Okay? Anybody else? Lock in your answers, people. Anybody
definitely
else
not
want to
B.
hazard a guess?
Definitely
and really,
not.
the way that the question is phrased, you really are guessing.
Yeah.
Okay. Nobody else is going to lock in an answer. So
Just guess. Everybody guess really quick. Put in something.
A,
And
B, C, or D? D as in Daniel.
Ooh,
Oh,
okay, we
so
got
these are
a
Ds.
D.
We've got a D.
Yeah, I mean, I was considering a D,
We've
so
got a D. And that was your first answer, was D.
yeah. And I
Right.
normally like to stick to my that first
And so I
gut
think
reaction.
One of the tips that you want to really leave people with is that if you overthink things, you will trip yourself up with these questions.
Yeah, you definitely gotta go with your intuition, go with your gut. I might have
You might have
tripped
overthinked
myself
it,
up.
and then-
I might have.
and then indirect connection. Afterwards, it's kind of neat because it doesn't just give you the answer, but it gives you the answer why. So we're
Yes.
gonna find out why it
Yeah, okay, because we're just about done here.
Okay,
Folks, we like to live stream for an hour. Set that on your calendar for October 4th.
there you go. And the answer is
The correct answer is D.
Ah!
Neither technician is right.
I
Carbon
overthought.
dioxide is an indicator of combustion efficiency, while oxygen is useful for evaluating converter performance and identifying a lean air-fuel ratio. Technician A's statement is incorrect since air injection dilutes the CO2 sample. Consequently, carbon dioxide will be at its lowest point, not highest, when the air injection system is operating.
That makes
Technician
sense.
B's statement is also incorrect. With the air injection system disabled, the only oxygen in the exhaust is the trace amount
Yep.
issued by the converter. Oxygen levels are always higher when air injection is active.
Okay. Yep. So see what happened. Yeah. So I tricked myself into. I overthought it.
You overthought it.
But my gut knew as soon as I heard the question. I'm like, oh, I know the answer.
That's right. And that's a problem with ASE tests.
It is.
and then
Yes.
500K
It's not like
Chevrolet.
history. You just have to
It was
memorize
Ralph
the
Johnson, who is Crandall, right? Was Smokey's carb guy. It was Ralph Johnson, as far as I know, but I'm always willing to learn more about Smokey Unique. So
Just wanted to show you guys one more
Yeah.
time before we sign off what
the
book
book
we were
that's
reading
been
from.
beating us to death.
In case, yeah, and it's new to me. I've only read the first few pages and then I kind of set it aside. Honestly, And the only reason I took it back out again was because we're like, let's live stream. So I really should get back into
You're way
studying
advanced
this.
now. Now she's in the. I think you're already a master tech, and you're
I'm ASC. I'm ASC master, but but I'm 4 classes away from Toyota master. But more importantly, I'm 1 class away from super specialist. 1 class. 1 freaking class, and I'm just waiting
to just specialize in the Supras.
to be able to work on this legally. Legally, I am not certified to work on Supras, so not through Toyota. They do not
still
claim.
retain your everything.
Yeah,
But
or the Mark V. The Mark V.
And we're talking about the newest Supra. Well, that's pretty cool.
So I'm hoping my goal, you guys.
There's probably not too many
is,
people that even have that certification.
And not that many. It's very rare. So I'm establishing. I'm setting myself apart.
Yeah.
From,
well,
you know,
I've said this. I
certified.
don't know if
People
I was
bring their
talking
Supras
to
to me.
Shop Mom the
Bring
other
your
day,
Supras to me.
and you didn't chase somebody else. You're not following anybody. But most people just your Toyota true. You got to get her Toyota 7M cams. This is not this is a complete
7M,
engine.
yeah.
You're so she wasn't doing
Chasing my own dream, people.
Yeah, it's not who am I going to follow so that I can get support or I can get funding or I can get something. That all came, and that should be something advice. Follow your own thing, and the support will come because you're doing it for the love of Toyota. That's you. It's not like, well, who can I do videos about that will sponsor me? Yeah. So y'all are out there. Don't chase somebody else's success. They may be successful because whatever they do.
Sounds like hard work. I'd rather just chase what I genuinely love.
Yes,
already.
you were doing it because you love Toyota.
I love it so much.
And it's come around. Look at that, perfect time. All
yeah,
right.
I mean, I do have an end goal. I have an end goal with it. Is that I do want to get my smashed Supra back and fix it legally. So we'll see. We'll see if I ever get there. Well, thank you guys so much for joining our live stream today. This was a blast.
Yep.
I learned a lot. What about you?
I learned a lot. I learned that I don't know enough, but it's okay because this is fun.
And
This is
thanks
awesome.
to the new members who joined.
Yes, thank you, new members.
Burton, thank you for that wonderful tip. I think
And
that
Sarah,
Daniel-
I'll see you Sunday.
Yeah,
We'll coordinate.
and the fact of the matter is, folks, we appreciate every one of y'all.
We do. Yes,
Yes.
we are all in training. Absolutely. That's it. Thank you.
Yep, we're all
So,
in training.
peace and assembly grease.
I'm gonna put it on finishing a piece of assembly grease, everybody.
Oh, he's typing it out.
I just stopped typing.
He's committing to
Yes.
it.
All right.
Peace.
Thank
and
y'all.
assembly
This has
grease.
been fun.
Thank
We'll
you.
do it again. Thanks for being here. Shop Mom's gonna.
I'm cutting you off.
We're
somewhere.
done. It's dinner time. And
Are
look a
we
little-
sure we want to start? Oh, are we sure?
Yeah.